Where were you at when they killed that black man in front of Wendy's?
Tense moments in downtown Atlanta Saturday where both sides of the abortion debate faced off in a passionate back and forth. Those who want the 1973 Supreme Court decision Roe v. Wade to stand were met by a sizable group of anti-abortion protesters. The rise in clashes has come in the wake of last Monday's leak of a draft decision indicating the justices are now poised to overturn the constitutional right to an abortion. Joining me now is Chuck Todd, moderator of Meet the Press. Good morning, Chuck.
Well, good morning, Christy.
Justice Samuel Alito's leaked draft opinion that would potentially overturn Roe v. Wade would jeopardize Americans' constitutional right to privacy. How could this potential ruling ultimately affect other decisions that are based on the similar reason to the Roe v. Wade decision, even though, Justice Alito suggested it would not affect other rights like same-sex marriage? Don't you think lawyers in conservative states will try to challenge that anyway?
Well, and look, the Supreme Court justices that wrote in the majority for Bush v. Gore claimed that that wasn't supposed to be used as precedent in future cases. But guess what? It has been, and it will be, right? It just because Alito writes that in there doesn't mean it won't be, just as you point out. So the two biggest issues that essentially a right to privacy covers these days outside of abortion was the right to contraception and same-sex marriage. So you're asking which two rights? I think it's those two rights. And I think there's going to be some movements to ban some forms of contraception. You've had some people out there that believe things like IUDs are no different than having a monthly abortion. So I think the idea that contraceptive procedures like that get targeted by different states is highly possible. And then when you look again, if privacy is thought to not be in the Supreme Court, not be protected in our Constitution, same-sex marriage is at risk as well.
Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts came to Atlanta on Thursday. Justice Clarence Thomas was here on Friday amid the SCOTUS draft leak and amid a contentious voting season. How big of an issue is this for the midterms, especially here in Georgia in the governor's race, if Governor Kemp and challenger Stacey Abrams are neck and neck in the fall?
Look, I think it raises the stakes for every governor's race in the country, and that's no different in Georgia. I don't know if Georgia needed more stakes on this Barbie, if you will, to mix my metaphors a little bit. It was already a pretty intense gubernatorial race. It was already going to be highly divisive and highly competitive. This, I think, only adds more fuel to that. But in general, I think the governor's races are going to be where abortion takes center stage, because in many cases, especially in these battleground states, you have one party controlling the legislature. You may have the other party fighting to get the governor's mansion. And that sort of that legislative paralysis is probably the best way to keep abortion rights in place if that happens. But the idea that you could have a Republican legislature and a Republican governor essentially streamline and accelerate bans could serve as an interesting motivator for the Democrats on the left. So I think again, I don't know what more needed to you needed anything more to energize your governor's race in Georgia. But if it's possible, this will energize it.
All right, Chuck, thanks. Meet the Press airs at 10 right after 11 Alive Weekend Morning News.